Hi, I'm Rick Van Weren at Remax Properties, and we're doing Rick on Real Estate today. And my special guest is Aaron Hunt from Hunt Property Inspections, and Aaron has done just a ton of inspections for my clients. We strongly recommend to all of our buyers that they get a home inspection. And so, Aaron, thank you for being here, and thanks for being willing to take the time to talk to us about home inspections.
Thank you. I hope the information I provide is helpful.
Terrific. Well, one of the things that I was hoping you could talk to us about today is, what do you actually do when you do a home inspection? What's involved?
Well, I could go on for 30 minutes, and I'll just try to let's start with the highlights.
We'll go for the highlights.
Well, it would be roofing, exterior, and that includes everything from drainage to a tree limb over the, growing into the side of the home. So exterior and roofing is what I start with. The inspection will include an electrical inspection, wiring behind the panel, general, circuits in the home, heating, cooling, or HVAC combined, plumbing, interior of the home, opening and shutting windows, appliances, carpet, trip hazards, anything on the interior of the home, and that's a very wide part of the inspection, interior. We're also looking at attic ventilation and insulation in the home. And lastly, and I finished lastly, is structure. It's probably the most, in the driveway out front, what the structure. I do render a structural opinion, and that is, I have to go through the entire home, roof, interior, basement, crawl space, before I'll render my structural opinion. So those are the highlights.
Okay, great. So some of my buyers come from out of state, and they ask about like termite inspections, for instance. Now, we get termites here occasionally, but what's been your experience with termites in our area?
Well, I have seen termite activity, and I've also seen treatment of termites. So people say, do I need to get a termite inspection? Well, most of that is through your lender. If your lender requires a termite inspection, which I don't believe to this point in time it is required in the state of Colorado to obtain your financing. However, you can get a termite inspection. You can call Terminix or Mug-a-Bug, a local vendor, and they will, for about $130, $140, $150, they will issue a termite certification. If I see termite activity, of course, I'm going to report it. I'm looking at a lot of other activity. If I saw mouse droppings, I might say that we need an exterminator here. So for me, it's not just termites to get a loan. There's a squirrel nest in the attic.
Gotcha.
There's droppings. I see insect activity when I look, and I lift a register to look at a duct. So if I see it, I'll call it out.
Nice. No, that's great. So another thing that I've noticed happens, especially in some of our older neighborhoods, is we will get situations where the sewer lines are not in the best of shape. What is your recommendation in that whole area? Do you? I think you actually have another vendor maybe that you work with for sewer line inspections.
I don't own sewer camera scoping equipment or perform that service myself. What I offer to my clients is, I'll be a one-stop shop for you. I'll have a gentleman on my team that has that equipment join me at the inspection and perform the sewer camera scope inspection, so that you're getting everything done at once and you're actually not paying a dime more. It's the same price as the market price. Sewer camera scopes will charge anywhere from $100 to, some of the big franchises will get up well above $2.
Wow.
So get some pricing, and a local vendor that's not a franchise, I've found, charges less.
Yeah.
But I do have a gentleman that comes on my team to perform sewer camera scopes. It's important that the buyer understands it's optional. A lot of people with a new home, it's 6-7 years old, and there hasn't been any backup or anything reported, they might not spend that money. I do put it on the buyer's radar when it is an old home, and I'm careful to say this is not required, this is not an upsell, but you do need to think about this. You need to consider the value of that sewer camera scope inspection, because the alternative, if you have backup into your home or you have a sewer issue, it can get expensive.
Yeah. So, Aaron, I'm really glad you mentioned the whole thing about older homes on sewer scopes. Our newer homes, there's tree root damage is one of the main things that affects sewer lines. And our newer homes trees grow a little slowly in our climate. But older ones, when you get 20, 30, 40 years down the road, those tree roots can do some serious damage, and it costs a lot of money. I mean, I've heard of people spending $5,000 and $10,000 in some cases to get sewer lines fixed when it's a problem. So we want that to be on the seller's watch, not on the buyer's watch. So thanks for bringing that up.
Sure.
Another area that the government likes to talk about is radon, and we have special things we make people sign that they understand about radon, and we're told it's the #2 cause of lung cancer in the United States. So you do radon testing, or you have radon testing available as a part of your menu
Yes.
of services, and tell us about that a little bit and how that works.
I provide a radon testing service. It's commonly ordered as part of a home inspection. The home inspectors and not just our region, but across the nation, commonly test for radon. It's just convenient for the buyer to get it done in one shop. I'm certified to test, and I have the best equipment in the industry to test. It is not required, so I am very careful to tell my client, our mutual client, that I'm happy to test for radon and explain and answer any questions they may have, but I believe the Colorado contract of sale does not mention the word radon. So I'm careful to explain that this is an optional service. I do provide it, and it's usually generally, I think, about $100 to test for radon.
Okay. And then the other one that's just become a little bit of a hot button in the last couple of years is meth. Mm-hmm. That is a 4-letter word, by the way. It's one of the ones we're allowed to use, though. So methamphetamine manufacture and use leaves residue in a dwelling, and that's not a test you actually do, right? Do you have people that you also, as part of your team, that you can bring in if need be?
Methamphetamine testing is strictly governed and overseen by Denver, our state capital. There is a department. I don't believe it's not a political statement. It's just that they want to know what house is tested hot and positive so that they are scrubbed properly before they're sold again. So no one, a child or any buyer wouldn't be exposed. So there are very strict protocols and certifications for methamphetamine abatement, mitigation. It's not a matter of a home inspector saying you should have someone come in here and really clean this house well. It's much more involved. I do not have those certifications, and to be honest, there are only a couple of vendors that service the Pikes Peak region that do. I can always put you in contact with them to get pricing and they ask your questions.
Sure.
But I don't know of any home inspector in the Pikes Peak region that also has those special certifications for methamphetamine abatement.
Gotcha. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for sharing some of your knowledge here in terms of home inspection, and thanks for joining us on Rick on Real Estate.
Thank you.